Hello, everybody. We're back for another Minecraft Tuesday, and guess what? Kirby's actually here. How many days? Hold on. How many days has it been since last? I think the last time you were on was East Coast Rep Rap. So like, I think it's been September was the last time that you've been on.
20 months.
Holy shit, it's been forever. Oh my god. So there is a ton of shit I can't wait to catch up with Kirby about. And there's been a lot of big news recently. Like today I was watching no, I'm trying to scare Kirby. No. I want to talk about there's been a ton of stuff happening in both the VTuber industry and in the 3D printing industry. And I've just like nobody has that Venn diagram like connection like you do that would both care about either of those topics for me to yap with. Honestly, I don't know anybody personally that is like invested in VTubers like I am. And so, oh shit, I also got to announce that I'm live. I forgot to do that. I'm a good streamer, guys.
Great streamer.
I should do that thing in that Rhea does where it just auto bots it.
Yeah, it's not that hard to set up.
Yeah. Is this my? Yeah, this is my. So, what's probably a good thing to start with? Oh my gosh, I don't even know. So first up, how have you been?
I've been good, tired, but good.
Tired? No way.
Work's been oof. It's been oof.
Tell me about it. How's work been oof for you?
It's been oof. It's been oof. I don't know. They just changed how the scheduler works, so it's rough.
Do you still have a similar schedule, or did your schedule get changed?
My schedule is the same, but how like people make appointments for their vehicles got changed. So
Oh, okay.
we're just getting slammed with cars.
Wow, that's crazy.
And like if somebody calls in, or like what happened this week when somebody got injured, one of the techs got a head injury on his day off, so now he's out for a few days. We're absolutely screwed.
That's not good.
Yeah.
Well, I thought I was gonna have to cancel stream for one of those weeks there because work for me has been so busy. I think it was like 2 weeks ago. I can't remember. It's been all the weeks are blending together in my head, but I had finally gotten a little bit of my life like squared away, and since you hadn't been at Minecraft Tuesday in a while, I was like, well, the reason that Minecraft Tuesday is on Tuesday is because that's when you're off, but Tuesday is one of my busiest days of the week. Yo, guns out. What's up? So I'm glad you came. I'm glad you came because I was thinking of you as I was working on some of the stuff today. Anyway, so I had a stream on Monday, and I was like, okay, I've gotten all the work that I need to do for my research. Class was canceled. I'm gonna stream at like noon on Monday. I go live. I'm like, all right, things are going good. Because noon's kind of a better time for my audience, it seems. I think the only person that doesn't like it is Dreams. But he's so busy, I don't even think he can come to stream anymore anyway. Hopefully you weren't in the shower when you thought of me. No, I was working on my 3D printers. Because I know I was watching I saw a video where a guy 3D printed a lathe and some other equipment by printing a mold and then putting concrete into the mold, so they're like molded concrete, and then he uses that to make various pieces of equipment like a lathe and honestly, I only got to watch the lathe video because I saw it last night. And then today I was like, oh shit, I have stream. I know that Guns Out does CNC work, but I feel like this would be up his alley. So, yeah. Anyway, so I hit go live. I'm like, okay, this is going to be good. You know, get the stream out of the way so I can have my evening, all that stuff. I shit you not. 5 minutes into stream, I get a call from my advisor. Hey, can you be on call in 5 minutes or can you be on call right now for an interview I need you to do? I'm like, I'm on stream. I go, sorry guys, I gotta go. I'll be back in like a half an hour.
Ugh.
I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, man. Like, come on.
It's just bad timing sometimes.
Yeah.
It's rough, but it happens.
Yeah, and my advisor has been getting a little bad with that stuff where it's like, hey, can you be ready in like 2 minutes to do this? Like, he was like, can you make, who the hell hit me? Did somebody hit me? Wait, is somebody down here?
Not on here.
Oh no, I just hit the roof with my rocket. This music sucks. Why am I playing it? There it is. This song is so good. Anyway, so he texts me on Monday, and we have our big like research proposal thing on. By the way, tell me how the music is, guys. I turned it up because I was watching back the VOD and it seemed really quiet. So some people will be like, "Wait, you had music?" And that's kind of my point. Anyway, so we had this big research proposal, and he was like, "Oh, you know, I need you to do. Can you do CAD work?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I can do CAD work." He doesn't know that I do this on the side. This is my secret identity. You know, this is the Peter Parker to my doctorate Spider-Man, if that makes sense. So I was like, oh yeah, I do a little bit of that stuff for. Can hear both without one being overwhelming. Perfect. That's exactly what I'm shooting for. So anyway, I go to him and I'm like, or he's like, hey, can you do a 3D model of the setup that you have in the lab? And I'm like, sure. And I was gonna work on like Ace stuff that day, but instead I had to work on other stuff because he needed that. So I was like, okay, sure, I'll turn around an entire like dynamic 3D model with like moving parts and everything of my entire lab setup for you in like 3 hours. Sure, I'll do it. So I get it done. I email it over to him, and I'm like, hey, in the next email, I'll share with you, like, a video of it working. I just need to, like, animate it. And he texts me back, and he's like, wait. This is the lab setup. I wanted a setup of the one that we're going to build, like, in real life.
Aww.
And I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah, that's what I meant when I said pilot. I was like, oh, well, we call the lab one the pilot. And he's like, oh, sorry about that. Well, it's past the due date for the thing anyway, so don't worry about the model at all anyway. I'm like, you're shitting me, dog. Why?
Doesn't realize how much work a 3D model like that is.
Yeah, no, nobody knows. There's so many people like that don't realize. I feel like there's so much stuff in my life right now where people don't understand or have a frame of reference for the amount of effort something takes. It's like, oh God. Oh, woof. But yeah, anyway, work's been really rough, but I just got to power through it. I think we kind of talked briefly about it. I haven't told you how it updates, but I want to keep that off stream. I don't want to
That's fine. That's fine.
I unfortunately I can't show it off on stream without doxing myself. Poor planning on your part doesn't constitute an emergency on mine. Yeah, no, I need to get better at that, but he pays my bills, so I can't really say that to him. If it was like my boss and like it wasn't controlling my, because like if I were to lose my job, that's a job, but if I lose my doctorate, I lose all the work that I put into my project,
Yeah.
so that's a little bit different. And I'm not gonna backsass him about that kind of stuff. But I treat it like I treated the job site when I worked on the job site with a lot of blue collar workers. You really got to dot your I's and cross your T's because they have a real knack for forgetting things or forgetting what they said. Anyway, we were getting a little bit too into stuff that I would rather talk about 3D printing. There was one other thing I wanted to mention, and I totally forgot what it was. Oh my gosh, I'm losing it. What were we talking about?
What were we
Hold on,
talking
it's coming. It's gonna come back. It's gonna come back. Oh my god, I actually just straight up lost it. Hold on, I was reading that message as I was saying it, and then I totally forgot what it was. I'm really fat because I ate 69 donuts. I feel sick. Hello? That is a crazy name. I read that whole name out. That's a name?
Didn't know you could have a name that long.
That's crazy. I've been talking about my work stuff. Oh, that's right. That's right. So, guns out with the save. So I can't talk about it without doxing myself, unfortunately. But I officially got my second publication published under the American Chemical Society. This one's actually a pretty big one. It's a book chapter, so it's not just like an article or like a piece.
Give me like 5 minutes. My groceries just got here.
Yeah, his groceries just got here. But yeah, no. So I'm now a twice published scientist, which is really cool, to say the least. I wish I could show off a little bit more, but obviously, as a superhero, you got to keep your superhero identity and your real life identity separate. Otherwise, the two mix. But that was really cool. It's been, oh god, I think I technically started it in 2021, but the bulk of the research is from 2022. But yeah, no, it's crazy. I'm also currently working on publishing my work for my master's, which will be interesting. That'll be the first one, like, independent work that I'll publish, which will be interesting. And by independent, I mean, like, I was the chief one on the research. So, yeah, very cool time. Yeah, and once Kirby gets back, then we can talk a little bit more about stream. So, I did want to say, so I've been making my roadmap for the rest of 2024 because I might take a little bit of a break in 2025 because there have been some huge projects that I've been working on in the background, and I think I want to segment the before and after that work very succinctly. I think I'm using the terms that I want to use for this. But basically I'm building a new setup for filming and a new setup for where all my printers are and all of that. So new videos will have hopefully higher production quality. Oh, there's a whole mine over here. I'm very excited about that, but it's going to take a lot of effort on my part. I think, honestly, and this might be peering a little bit too much behind the curtain, the thing I'm struggling with right now, I would argue, is lighting. I feel like my quality is very high on the footage. I just need to get better lighting. Also, I'm playing around with getting rid of time lapses in the videos because I've gotten several comments about how time lapses aren't as important. And videos where I put the time lapses towards the back of the video do just as good as time lapses that have, or videos that have time lapses in the front. If you guys that watch my content have any opinion about that, please let me know. What I will probably do going forward is right now, not all of my printers take time lapses anymore. They used to all take time lapses, but now with my newest printer, which will be a new video, and once Kirby gets back, I'll talk a little bit more about the new printer that I bought on my experiences. But that printer doesn't take time lapses, and so some videos will have time lapses, some won't. So yeah, but I've been kind of working on massaging the content schedule for the end of 2024, and kind of comes planning for the future, which is exciting. The hope right now, I like the time-lapse shots, but there's plenty of content out there, pros and cons. Yeah, honestly, if I'm being kind of honest about it, one reason that I keep the time lapses in is it gives something more to the video, because without the time lapses, the videos would be like 30 seconds long, and I like them to be about 45 seconds long. So while the time lapses don't add a lot of time, they add something to the video. I think I'm going to move forward with leaving them in the end of the video if I do have time lapses, because then they're not super intrusive, but they're still there for anybody that's really interested. Because I like the time lapses personally. I think they're kind of cool to see how the print comes out. And on a technical end, it also is a good way to see how somebody prints something, because the final product comes out looking very different than it does when it's on the build plate. And like supports are a great thing that a time-lapse shows. You know, like where am I putting supports on my models and that kind of stuff. That's something that comes out in a time-lapse, which is good. So yeah. But mainly what I'm trying to say is I'm working on collecting up all the videos that I have in the works and planning it so that I'm kind of towards the place where I've basically wrapped up. That's why I like them so much. I call it stealing the game. Hey, I could be more mad, but I do the same thing. I take a lot of lessons from other content creators to see more so what I want my content to look like. And I think every content creator does that to some extent, whether they'd like to admit it or not. And yeah. So anyway, basically what I'm looking at is kind of I don't think I'll be starting any new big projects for the rest of the year. I'm basically just looking at the projects that I have started and how I can get those finished. What I would love, and this might not happen, but what I'm looking to do is, for you guys, the end of 2024, but for me, the end of Thanksgiving, I would like that time to mark the end of every project that I have up in the air. And then 2024 will be a fresh start for me with content. Now, editing and posting are very different for me. I edit my videos in batches, and so a lot of the time videos are edited weeks, if not months, before they get posted. And projects are worked on even further away from when they get posted. Very rarely do I work on something and then it gets posted the next week. And when I do that, it's a very specific project and specific reason why I did that. A good example of that would be the Iron Mouse crown that I did, because she debuted on Friday and I had the video out on Monday. But what I basically do is I built up a kind of backlog of videos. So some videos are new and some videos are old, and the idea is that they'll all look kind of the same when they come out. You can't tell which one's an old video and which one's a new video. But if I fully upgrade my my area, then new videos are going to look very distinctly different from old videos. So that's why I want to get a clean break in my content uploading so that I can start filming on the new... I don't want to call it a set, but the new set, basically. I guess it's the new setup. So that's kind of what's going on behind the scenes. I kind of talked about it earlier, but I got a brand new printer. I have been tinkering with the old printers in specific ways. I have now completely converted my Ender 3 V2 into a PET printer, so I only print the Recreator filament on that printer. And then on the refurbished Ender Pro that I have, I got that back up and running. I've been tweaking the profiles on the side, but I am blown away by the quality I'm getting off of it, considering it was a free printer I got from a friend of mine that I refurbed and turned into a printing beast now, which is really fun. And then I think I could I want to talk about old stuff before I talk about new stuff, but there's a specific reason that I've been tinkering with the new printers, because there's some huge video projects that I want to work on in 2025. That so far I feel like a lot of my videos have I feel I really like my videos, but I want to do some big stuff. I want to do some big projects that really push the 3D printing needle forward, if I can say that. I want to do some stuff that hasn't been done before, aside from just the models that I make. I got some cool stuff coming out about that. I've also been refurbing my CR10. I'm still kind of on the fence about whether or not it's worth it for me to even go through the rest of the refurb, because as I've been tinkering with it, I don't know. Buying this new printer has kind of completely changed my opinion on tinkering with my printers, because I'm just like, man, I can continue to tinker with these printers, or I could just buy a brand new one and it works out of the box like phenomenally. So, not gonna lie, I'm kind of thinking about scrapping my CR10. I might get it up and working just for posterity, because it's already up most of the way done. I'd say it's like 90% done. It just needs new firmware. But if any of the stuff that I added to it doesn't work, I'm to the place where I might just throw the whole idea out and then instead
for parts.
Ooh, there he's back. So that I'm glad you came back right now when you did. Basically, what I was talking about was my content schedule. They say boredom is the best way to kind of get your head in the game on like what you need to do. And in the lab, now that I've been through a lot of the harder stuff that I was doing, I'm doing like regular data collection, which is kind of boring. Literally, I'm watching water drip through my system. I think I sent a video in general of me like just letting the water drip through. In fact, I actually called Zombie, and he and I were in VC talking while I was just sitting there watching my setup. But anyway, I've been working on behind the scenes, working on getting an entirely new set for all of my videos. Set / workspace, and I don't want I make videos in batches, but I don't post them all when they're finished. I post them when they make the most sense for the algorithm or for the time of like season. Like all the Halloween stuff, I had that finished in September, I believe. I think actually, it's funny that I say that. I'm pretty sure right before I went to 3D Printopia was when I printed out those pumpkin guys that were in a recent video. I think I had them printed out in September. But what I would like to do is get all of my in-progress projects finished by the end of November and have them posted by the end of December so that January is a fresh start for me. We'll see how well that turns out. No idea. But I want to start working on some bigger projects, and I have some really cool news to tell you, Kirby, about some of the stuff that I've been working on. So here are some of the videos. Actually, let me pull up the picture because oh man, I love that I got a whiteboard in my lab finally, because now I can just write all my shit out on a whiteboard. Oh, it makes me feel so good. Watching water drip. So your occupation is waterboarding people. Got it. Never make you mad. Yeah, actually.
Yep.
I waterboard people. That's my job. This is parody. Anybody that's watching this in a legal context, this is satire, and I am not being true. Anybody that is not a lawyer or not pressing legal action, this is absolutely true. Anyway, okay, moving on. So, there are 2 VTuber videos that I'm working on. Half of them are printed. All of them are modeled. All of them have left the concept stage. They are all fully modeled. Half of them are printed, and a quarter of them are like the videos are out for them already. So the ones that the videos are out for already is the Iron Mouse Crown and the Fauna Planter. The ones that have been modeled and I've showed off on previous streams, in fact, I've made some of them on Maker Tuesday, were the Ame Spyglass. I believe you were there for that, Kirby, if I remember correctly. Mm-hmm. That one is finished. I'll skip over that model because you weren't here for it, but I didn't get a chance to show you it, and I think you'll think it's really cool. I showed these off on I forgot to tell you that. So the last time that I was 3D modeling on Maker Tuesday, I got raided. And so I had a ton of people that were like, oh my gosh, I never thought I could use Onshape for this. And they were like, I only thought of using Onshape for structural parts and stuff like that. To use it for art is really cool. So I had a lot of people where I got to show off like how Onshape works. It was super, super cool to see that. Speaking of which, if anybody's here from that raid, shout out to you. You guys are the best. But I have been seeing, I keep getting sidetracked. I knew this was going to happen. I was telling Kirby this before we started. I've got so much stuff I want to talk about with Kirby that I'm just going to keep getting sidetracked in everything I'm talking about. That's why I titled the stream Minecraft and Yap, because today is going to be the worst of the Yap session. But anyway, so I modeled Doobie 3D's goggles and the little whistle that she has on the side of her head, and I'm working on the entire, like, I'm going like all in on the cosplay of it. I I have some leather, and I'm actually sewing a leather pouch for the goggles so that they look like they do on her model. I'm going all in on this. Those I'm really excited about. They just finished printing today on my new printer. And I gotta say, the one strength of my new printer is how easy it is to do filament swaps on it. Oh my god, it's so nice. But I'll get back to that. I made a Cecilia print for Cecilia Evergreen, I believe is her last name. You're familiar with her, right, Kirby?
Yeah. The green one.
Yeah, so I made her crank, and it works in a way where it can take an old bearing and spin, so it actually does move. And I'm really excited to get that one out and out. And when that works, I'm planning on using the exact same process to finish up Cynthia's commission of Bridget's yo-yo. Which, oh god, I modeled that back in like April, I think. So it would be nice to finally finish that. Then this was another Maker Tuesday. You might have been here for this one. I modeled Rarora's goggles. Those were fun.
I think I was there for part of it, yeah.
They came out way too big, so I have to go back and remodel them just slightly to make them less big. Oh god, I'm gonna close myself in on this. And then the newest one that you probably don't know anything about, but might excite you. You're a brat, right? You like Bay?
Yeah.
I'm making Bay's choker and the key.
Oh hell yeah.
All of the pieces came out very well for it. I'm using a new technique where I'm printing TPU and ABS together, and I'm seeing how they work together. So that's going to be really exciting. So that one, I think the coolest part about it is almost all of it will be 3D printed, even though it's a cosplay piece. And I'm working on how to use TPU in place of fabric, which is, I think, going to be really cool. I might send a video over to you, Kirby, now that I know that you'll respond, because I pulled the TPU off the bed today, and it looks really good. I'm very excited with how that print's turning out. So those two videos are coming out. That's that. What was the other video? Oh, so on a Recreator end, I'm working on 2 videos for Recreator peeps. And I'm not quite sure when those videos will come out because they're very heavily interlocked, or related, I guess I should say. But as I stated at 3D Printopia, I'm working on the colorizer video, where I'm going to show off like how to use the colorizer with RPET. I've been doing way more testing with the colorizer and RPET, and I have a video coming out next Friday that uses it. Or is it next Friday? No, it's the following Monday, so it's the 20th or 22nd. I don't have a calendar in front of me. But that's when that video will come out. But I almost have all of the colors of Sharpie I own tested on models, various models. So I don't. This was one instance where I went against the grain. I didn't want to just print out a bunch of benchies. I wanted you to see how they looked on actual models, because I feel it's more analogous to what'll happen when you actually use it than if you were to print a benchy. Because if you print them on a benchy, they look, honestly, I think they look kind of worse. Where if you print them on a bigger model, the variation is a lot more smoothed out, so they look better. And it's a better showcase of what'll happen when you actually print. Anyway, so I got the colorizer video coming out. I'm still working on the meld unit. I finally got a power supply for it, and I've begun testing on it. I need to run a PID tune of it, of the unit, because it's still running stock firmware, and so it's freaking out that it has no bed in it, which is funny. So I have to fix that up, and then I should be testing the meld a little bit more. And then I've got the CR10 restoration video, which all of the hardware mods are added to it now. It just needs the new firmware. Which, Kirby, you remember what was the biggest downside of my Ender restoration video, right?
Which,
the microprobe.
Oh, the microprobe.
It does. I was correct. I love how I know what I'm talking about. It makes me feel smart. It does indeed require different firmware. I don't know what that entails because I have an auto compiler and I'm not a tech guy to really know, but it does indeed need special firmware to operate. It's not a drop-in replacement for the BL Touch CR Touch. It doesn't use the same commands or something, so it needs a separate firmware install or something. But now that that's out and on the board natively, I can now implement it. So that means I don't have to buy a new probe, which is nice. I also installed a new hot end, a filament runout sensor, a new board, risers. I'm probably going to do filament covers because those were really nice. When I put them on my other printers. They're so nice. The aluminum extrusion covers are so nice. Kirby?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out my Minecraft right now.
Oh, what's wrong with that?
Everything blew up.
Damn.
But I think I'm good now.
Threw it out on accident. That's really funny. Kirby will make you a new one.
Sure. Actually, I could. It's gonna be diamond though, not
We don't use netherite tools.
Okay.
So I bought a new printer this weekend, and I wanted to talk. Can he name it Gigi's Pickaxe like the last? I'm actually not. I'm gonna explain kind of my initial feelings with the printer and why I'm keeping it, but I'm not necessarily. I don't think I'm going to recommend it, but I'm going to keep it, and I'm going to explain why more in depth. I need to test it more, honestly. But so I'm looking at everything from a very different light than I was. Oh gosh. A couple months ago after 3D Printopia. So it's true that the K2 is like the new hot shit. Originally, I was really hyped to get the K2 Plus because not only is it like a big format multicolor printer, and Nathan Builds Robots has been like, oh, it's like the coolest shit ever, but also the multi-material unit that it runs with is apparently going to work on the printer I already own, the K1.
News about that.
Oh, is your news but how new is your
USB
news?
plug? I watched the Nathan Builds Robot video.
Okay. Well,
it's not a USB plug. It's
as of October 30th, Creality stated that it will work on the K1 series and the KE. Any printer that runs the Clipper. And Kirby's going to interrupt me to say something he doesn't know enough about.
No. Okay, you can continue, but I'm gonna burst your bubble after you're done.
So you can feel free to burst my bubble, but I'm just telling you what the company themselves has stated. So they have said that around the end of December, they will launch a kit that will be able to make it so that your K1 can use the CFS, and then they will also be releasing profiles for their slicer. That is what they said.
Unbursted.
That is what they said on live stream on October 30th. I believe it was. It was Halloween.
What I was gonna say, and them releasing a kit actually.
That's what the Micro Center guy told me, and now I'm like, damn, I guess he swindled me into getting a machine I didn't want. So
the plug, it's technically not a custom plug. It's some sort of CAN bus thing implementation. But my guess is the kit's going to be like a USB to that special plug.
Yeah, that would be my guess.
So that, and I was just going to say it'll probably work just fine even without the kit, but it's not going to be a drop-in. You'll have to open it up and actually like plug in the CAN bus and stuff. But if they make a kit that's literally just something that plugs into the USB.
Yeah, they also could be like, oh, the big thing that the Micro Center, my Micro Center connection was telling me about was, well, how there's no room for a cutter.
But
and
the
theoretically,
K2
you don't need a cutter. The K2 does have a cutter.
Oh, it does? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't need one. I mean, look at...
and that's from someone that's has used it. Like, I'm not pulling this from Creality, what they said. This is from somebody that worked on a actual dev unit of got their hands on with a dev unit.
Yeah.
So
and the Prusa machines have been operating multi-material or multicolor
without a cutter. Yeah. I'm very mixed about multi-material now. Despite how much I've hated on them for years, I caved and bought an A1. Now, I'm going to give you my reasoning for why I bought it, but why I wouldn't recommend it for others. How do I say this and not sound like a hypocrite? I don't have enough money for a K2, okay? I thought I was going to be able to do a lot more than I'm actually going to be able to do. And I really, after 3D Printopia, I really want an ArtMe. And Gigi's gone for right now.
She left. Damn.
Fortune.
Okay.
What does Fortune do?
Multiplies the things that you... I didn't know if she wanted a Fortune pick or a Silk Touch pick.
Silk Touch.
Silk Touch. Okay.
She wants a Silk Touch pick. That's what the old one was. Yeah, that's the reason. I really want an ArtMe. Originally, I was going to wait and have the ArtMe project be a 2025 project. It still probably will, because even if I were to buy one now, I think they won't get shipped until like 2025. But I can't afford all of it. I was having a lot of trouble with my K1. It was not printing very well. And I was this song sucks. What is this? And so here's what happened. I was on the fence. The A1 and the Cobra 3 both went on sale for like really cheap. So the A1 went to $450 for everything, the combo and the A1, which is really cheap. And the Cobra 3 went to $380. I was originally going to buy the Cobra 3 because the Ace system, no relation. That's the Cobra's AMS system. Does active filament drying, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's awesome." But when I looked at reviews and talked with the my connection at Micro Center. They were like, yeah, every Cobra unit that we've had, the Z-axis, like something's messed up with the Z-axis on it, and it bans or like skips in the Z-axis.
Ooh.
And I was like, I have so many printers that I have that issue with. I don't want that to fuck up on a print that's doing multicolor. And currently the Ace doesn't work. It doesn't work on any of their printers that I know of. So it's not like I could buy it and as like a cheap printer and then use the Ace on something else, like some people are saying you're going to be able to do with the CFS, the Creality's AMS. So I looked at it and I was like, I'm a little bit strapped right now. I'm very disappointed with Creality right now. And I just need a holdover until I finish the
Check your DMs real quick. Should I name it?
Aw, damn.
Should I name it that?
You can keep it. I think she'd like
GG.
it. That's funny. That's funny. I'll give her a name tag to rename it if she doesn't like it. But
You just rename
love
it on an anvil for one,
okay.
one level.
Yeah, no. That's hilarious. I love that. So, I got to Micro Center. I had the full plans on buying the Cobra 3 because what I really need and what I would like to make, I got this idea for a Voron 2.4 with tool changer. Either that's an SV08 or I go the full 9 miles or whatever the saying is and do the Voron 2.4. And I want to do that as well as a regular AMS system. So either I hold out on Creality, which at that time I was very pissed off. Nathan Builds Robots video hadn't come out, and all the videos on the Cobra said it was awful. And I really didn't want to test it again because I've had to test a bunch of like that's why I dislike my that's why I was mad at my K1 is I felt like I had to guinea pig test it and it wasn't really ready. So I get to Micro Center after I had gone to round 1 and gambled with Gigi, and so I was kind of already in a iffy mood from like I'm broke
From gambling too good.
from gambling so much. I was like, I don't have any money, so I got to make the cheap decision. And when I talked to him, he said that the K1 or the K2 was not looking good. And it was looking like it was going to be a really bad machine. And he said a lot of unfavorable stuff towards it. That coupled with my experience with the K1, I was like, why do I have this allegiance for this company? They don't pay me to do this. Like, why am I saying that they're so good for no reason? And I was like, you know what? Why don't I just try it? It's only $450 for it. And then I have access to a lot of things I didn't beforehand. Like, obviously, now I can do multicolor. But also, now all of my files on Maker World, I can start building points to get more free stuff. And all of my things I can publish profiles for. Because aside from the A1 Mini, they're different. Like I can now like publish profiles, which means I can get more points, which is nice, you know. I'm gonna be honest though, initially, and I can't imagine this is gonna change very much as I use it and as I make a video about it. I'm disappointed with the A1. I know that's very shocking considering how much I rail on Bamboo, but I'm very disappointed with two things, and I can guarantee either chat or Kirby can guess the two things that I'm very disappointed about with the A1. Do you want to try and take a guess?
Um,
I guarantee you'll get
the
at least one.
software,
How so?
the mobile app.
I actually don't use the mobile app, so
Oh, okay.
I guess that could be. Think more broad. Think more broad.
Like the firmware in general.
Not really. What's your second guess?
How loud it is.
Oh, come on,
Actually,
really?
you don't care about that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's in my workshop. I can't even hear it. Come on, you
I
know
care.
what me and what do I talk about all the time?
You don't want to tinker with stuff,
True, but
but I don't know.
Mr. Recreator Ambassador, and you couldn't get it. It's okay.
Oh, it doesn't. Wait, does it?
It
does
makes
it not get hot enough?
proprietary nonsense. Chat got it. Proprietary nonsense. Lack of control. That's my biggest issue. Is lack of control, which I know coming from a guy that has said I don't like to tinker. It's real rich coming from me, but there are very specific key aspects of the printer that you cannot tweak, and they bother the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And the other thing is the waste. I have to send you a video, or in the video you'll see, but the first thing that I did with the multicolor system is I printed a multicolor tree frog because I was like, I have to. The tree frog is like my thing. What better way to test it than to do the multicolor? To print a 17-gram multicolor frog, it wasted 80 grams of material.
Jeez.
Now, what Bamboo will tell you, and what is on paper correct, as Bamboo tends to be on paper correct, that waste is the same if I print one frog or if I print a bed full of frogs. So this is the ultimate conclusion that I've kind of made. It makes so much sense why my TikTok feed and social media feed has been filled with people that print multi-material for things like an Etsy. Because for people like me that at the current time don't print for business, it makes very little sense to use my AMS.
Because you're just printing one thing.
Because
at a
if
time,
you're
and
printing
that's-
one thing at a time, all of those color changes add up, and you're like, why the hell am I making these? But if you're printing a ton of them, it actually kind of levels out. Because you can imagine it only changes the filament when it needs to swap from color to color. So if you're printing a whole bed's worth of red and then swapping to blue, it's the
still
same as if it
one.
were to swap from red to blue if it was doing one item. Also, further tinkering can really do a lot. Buy more filament. Yeah, no, that's why Bamboo wants you to waste more so that you buy more of their premium bullshit excuse for filament. Anyway, you can actually, and I'm dipping into stuff that I'll talk about in the video, but there's ways to kind of. Their filament is very analogous to other brands, and so you can just use their defaults and they work just as well. Okay, so yeah, it wastes a lot. It's very frustrating. Another thing that pisses me off, and I don't know why. I couldn't find it in a single review. I don't know why anybody said it. It will wipe every single print, even if you're using one material. So even if you are printing, like, I did a round for Christmas of Christmas prints, which you will see when it comes to Christmas. And they were all the same material. I printed 10 of the models. I just hit reprint every time. Every time it cut the filament and purged at the end of the print.
Why?
Because it is a G-code macro that you cannot change. It is in the end G-code to do that. I believe it's an NG code associated with the AMS because it's a toggle in the software to say use AMS, don't use AMS. And I think it is an AMS toggle. I haven't done enough work on it yet.
Oh, so probably it's probably does
yes.
it pull the filament out so you can like Change to a different filament right
That
away?
would be my guess, but why would it not give you the option to say, leave this primed because I'm going to print something else with it? Although it's a lot of waste, it is kind of nice because then I can just come in and quickly swap the filament rather than have to worry about like, oh, well, do I have this loaded? I have to turn the printer on and wait.
If you know you're gonna swap the filament before you go down, you just preheat it from your desk.
That's what I'm saying.
By the time you're down into the basement, it's already heated because it's a ceramic heater. And
G30 program rewind then stop. Yeah, and here's another problem with the G code. You have to go in manually and tweak the G code by hand. It's not something that you can change in the slicer. Like, I can't tell the slicer to ignore that line without going in and changing the G code by hand. There's some other specific things that really piss me off. If you cannot purge into a model without a prime tower. So you have to have a tower and a sacrificial model if you want to use a sacrificial model. And it is hardwired, to my knowledge, hardwired into the AMS or into the A1 that it will purge and flick poop even if you're using a purge model. It will not. I don't know of a way in the settings right now to purge into a model.
No, I think that's literally part of the printer. I don't even think it's a G code thing.
So
what I especially hate about that is because does it purge and poop every time you start a print?
Yes.
Why is a purge line not good enough? Every other printer has done a purge
that's
forever.
And that comes into that. See, the two are very closely linked, and that's why I'm kind of like, so I'm torn between two camps. One, if I return this printer, I have to wait until, God, I don't know when, for the K2 to come out. Because right now I can't go and buy a K2, even though it's been called God's gift to humanity in printer form by Nathan's Builds Robots. I can't go out and buy that printer yet. And that sucks. And my return date ends on Saturday. It ends on Saturday. So I have like 4 more days to make the decision. So, yeah. I dislike how little control I have over the printer. There's little stuff that I can't change. And I'm going to say this and you're going to be like, why are you still keeping it? And I'm going to talk myself in and out of it because I just can't make a decision. Let me pause from all the negatives and tell my one positive. I hate the line, it just works, because now I have a very small sample size for this, only having bought the K1, but the K1 just worked out of the box in the same way that the A1 just works out of the box. You know, like, and here's the really sad part, and this is going to be my gotcha at the end of the video, so anybody that's watching the stream right now, I'm sorry for spoiling the end of the video, but I have a print from my Ender 3 V2 and a print from my A1, and they look nearly identical in terms of quality. And that's a little sad that a printer that, or maybe it's a testament to how good the Ender is, or maybe it's a testament to how not great the A1 is. But
I think the thing is, like, just quality. Just there's not much more you can do to improve quality.
Yeah.
And the people that think that bamboo printers print better quality than other stuff, they're lying to themselves.
I think the reason why everybody says the two things about bamboo, which it just works and it has better print quality, is because there's a rift right now in the 3D printing community from reviewers, where you have new age reviewers who weren't there with old printing and grew up watching old printing but not actually printing. Or you have the old age printers that were there when the industry was new. And so for somebody that bought a Ender Pro when it came out, oh yeah, it just works and the quality is phenomenal compared to that. But The Ender 3 Pro came out almost a decade ago.
Yeah. and
Printers
there's
aren't
newer
like
Ender
the
3s that just work as well.
printers aren't like the Ender 3 Pro anymore. You get printers that work better. So that's kind of why I think people talk the way that
I've had it too before where people are like, actually recently somebody was telling somebody like, don't get an Ender, you'll spend so much time upgrading it. I'm like, when's the last time you bought a printer? In 2012?
yeah, no, Ender Pros aren't even on the market anymore. Well, I lied. They might still sell them on Creality's website, but Micro Center sold their entire stock of them in September, so you cannot buy them anymore. I don't even think they sell any Ender younger than or older than like a year or two ago.
Plus, you look at you don't even have to go all the way up to like the full fat V3. You go to like a V3 SE, not even the KE, and it has all of the upgrades plus extras that you could ever want on an Ender 3.
Yeah.
So you start with that, and that printer just works out of the box.
Yeah. And so here's the stuff that and actually I thought I was gonna be right, and I you know what, this whole thing has really taught me a lesson. I'm fucking right, and people should listen to me more. But I was absolutely correct. What did I tell you about tinkering? I said I like to tinker, but I like to tinker with the other stuff, not the printer itself. Like right now, I'm tinkering with, on the A1, purge amounts. You can actually change how much the filament purges to reduce the poops, because the poops are like insanely conservative. When I say insanely, can you turn Kirby up? He's a bit hard to hear. Oh god, I don't know if I can. He might have to just lean in on his mic.
I don't know if you want me to lean in on my mic.
There we go. Is that better?
I was going to say just turn me up in Discord, maybe.
Yeah, I did. I normally have you at 200% anyway, so.
Oh.
But
really?
I have you up. Let's see if it We'll wait. We'll give it time. So okay. I really like tinkering with the other stuff. Like, I want to start rapid prototyping. I want to start messing with filament settings and like figuring out, you know, what are ways to like make the filament better. Honestly, I just learned about all that stuff that I believe it's a Voron thing, maybe it's a Clipper thing. I have no idea, but all of the like VFA and pressure advance, that like the calibration for that stuff, even the calibration of like the like widths and stuff, and like measuring stuff with like a calibers. I'm actually thinking about going back and rooting my K1 now, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. But now that I have printers that just work, and I know that the issues I'm seeing are not from like the printer itself, but from factors I know how to change, I feel a lot more comfortable playing with it, you know, and I'm getting to do exactly what I want with the printer. Okay, back to complaining about the A1. This is why I said, you weren't here for it, Kirby, but this is why I said at the beginning of the stream, hey guys, how do you feel about time lapses? The A1 really can't do time lapses. Even though it has a camera, it doesn't work. It just doesn't. I'm sorry. I know I'm gonna get in trouble. Like, maybe I'll get in trouble. I don't know. Maybe Bamboo will try and silence me. But I'm printing on it right now, and I can't show you guys because I can't get a stream up of the printer. Can't do two things at the same time. It can't stream video and print for some fucking reason. I don't know why. And so I can't watch it print. So, like, I don't know why it even has a camera on it at all, because it's not helping me at all. The printer, the AMS jammed, actually, while I was printing a model. I don't know if I'll make a video about it, but it jammed while it was making a model. And I didn't know. I just came down and I was like, huh, it's really quiet. Why is it so quiet? And it had jammed, and it didn't let me know. and I can't watch the stream on it. So yeah, that sucks. And here's another thing that like factor you can't change on it that really pisses me off. So have you ever done time lapses on any of your?
Yeah, I have a few.
So you know how there's the in I'm gonna use the most basic option, Octoprint. That is some of the weakest nonsense I've heard. It gets worse, and then the worst part is at the end I'm gonna be like, I'm still keeping it though, and it's for a really shitty reason. Anyway, so you know how on Octoprint has existed since the Ender Pro. Basically, it's really old. Right? You'll back me up on that, Kirby. It's a really old piece of software.
It's been around for a while.
So on Octoprint, for time-lapse, there's a bunch of different options. There's the standard option where as soon as the Z change is seen, it will take a picture. As soon as there's a Z hop, or like a increase in the Z. So that's what I use for most of my time lapses because it's the most basic, it's the most consistent, and it gets the job done. I think it looks kind of cool to see the printer jitter around back and forth as it makes the time lapse. I will admit there are like more cinematic ways to do it. And so new styles of taking the time lapse photos have been developed over the years. One of which was the method where it, like I just talked about, where it will move the print head out of the way to make it look like the print is like rising up. That's the best way to do a really good looking time lapse. But it's not necessary. You don't have to do that. It just makes it look better. Bamboo doesn't have an option to do anything other than that I just mentioned. The like prints and rises up. It doesn't have an option to turn that off. You have to do the option where it moves the printer to the like side left of the print bed and takes a picture. So it will, when you trigger time lapse, it will automatically increase the print time that it takes to print your model. There are two options in Orca Slicer. I'm not talking Bamboo Slicer. I'm talking Orca Slicer. There are two options that you can change on the G code of the A1. The P1 or whatever the hell might be different, but I really sincerely doubt it. Because if you go to the Bamboo wiki, it's identical for both printers. But anyway, you have to use the cinematic mode. It has to move it to the right, and when it moves it to the left, it fucks up your model because it doesn't compensate for it doesn't do any special things to the retraction to compensate for the fact that it's moving the entire tool head out of the way, waiting for a sec.
It oozes back onto your model.
Yes, it oozes back on your model, and I was
wondering.
Okay,
why
well, it gets
whenever
worse.
Whenever I see a Bamboo printer time lapse, there's always like a bunch of string cleanup. I'm like, why don't they tune the retraction?
You can't, and Bamboo has solved this in their traditional Bamboo trademark way.
Did they just make it poop more?
They make it poop more, and what they do is if you want the cinematic camera where it doesn't fuck your print up, you have to make a prime tower so that it can prime over the tower and get rid of the ooze.
Dude, that's
and you cannot change that. That is a hardwired thing in the slicer that even Orca Slicer can't solve. So if I am to keep my A1, I don't think I will be able to make time lapses anymore, which really fucking sucks. I haven't done enough research into it because I don't give enough of a shit about it, but I don't think it's different on the P1 series, because
No.
if you go to the Bamboo wiki, they are in the exact same column for each other. So they're talked about in the same paragraph. So I don't think they're different. I think they are identical in the way that they operate on a time-lapse end. And I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Everything about Bamboo they make so that they have to do as little like deviation from their plan as possible. Like all of the beds aside from the mini are the exact same size, so they only have to make one type of bed. I like that. I think that's a good quality to have, but it's just kind of, I feel like they view every printer the same. So yeah, other things. You cannot change. I haven't found a way. Maybe there's a G-code override, but anything that you can do feels very hacky, and I can guarantee if I were to break anything, it would void my warranty, and so I do not really want to fuck with it. But when I unboxed it and ran the homing procedure, it ran the nozzle into the bed and scraped the coating off the PEI sheet, running the homing parameters. Like when you turn it on and you hit set up, it fucked up my PEI bed. There is nothing I could have done to fix that, change that, stop that. It just did it without me being able to stop it. And I went, oh, that's a little bit weird. I wonder why it's doing that. And it just like fucked up everything. Another thing that bothers me, now I'm going to get into nitpicks. You can't change Z offset. So all of my printers come with a little bit of elephant's foot because the default Bamboo parameters for that are very conservative, and so they really get a lot of squish. So if
you don't really need on a PEI bed.
Yeah, I don't mind it because I haven't gotten any peeling yet, but I have a textured PEI sheet, and I get very heavy textured PEI on the bottom of my models. So if I was doing anything for looks, I would have to buy a new bed. But that doesn't surprise me because being the Apple of the 3D printing industry, they probably look at that as a positive because it gets you to buy more of their shit. What about increasing the first layer height? That wouldn't change the Z offset.
It would still squish just as much. You just have a thicker first layer. You could
also, chat.
This is what you were saying about
how
did
you win the Mario game? No, I didn't. I will be finishing that up on Thursday, but I am close. I'm at the final boss. Anyway.
The hackiness with the G-code, you could add a little start G-code thing where it raises the nozzle by like 0.01, 0.02 millimeters.
Yeah.
And then sets the new 0.
Okay.
At that, but you're talking like hacky stuff now instead of just
and
being
I
able
don't,
to set it in
especially on the Bamboo. I do not. I felt uncomfortable doing hacky stuff on my K1, and to a lesser extent my other printers. I feel even less comfortable doing it on those because I know that any of that hacky stuff will completely void my warranty and void support of a printer that is... I feel like I'm walking on pins and needles when I use it, that if it breaks, I'm going to be screwed. And I hate that feeling because 3D printers break so often. Other nitpicks. I pretty much got in. I honestly don't know what else I could say. It's hard to say what I really like about the printer. And now that I've said this, I was just like, you know what? I made the right decision on keeping it. But now that I've talked to you guys, now I'm again on the path where I'm like, maybe I should return this. There's some little stuff that I like about it. Kind of. I like the fact that all of them come with the kits, and you like it's like hard, like machine materials, and then you 3D print the rest of it to like make it. Those are really cute. The fact that they charge like between $10 and $20 for each kit if you don't get them with the printer, instead you buy them. That's kind of disgusting because like the boat one, it's like a bigger benchy that can actually like go on the water. Is I believe $10, and it's quite literally just a AC motor in a bag. That's kind of shitty. That
I
I'm
was
paying.
gonna say even the mouse one, you're talking about like a PCB with a couple of very cheap components on it.
Yep. Yeah, no. The kits and here's my biggest problem with Bamboo. In principle, I like everything they're doing. In practice, I don't. I'm sorry. Like, they solved one of the one of the biggest problems I have with 3D printing, and that's it's so hard to buy filament without being in person to see it, because a picture on Amazon really doesn't tell you what it's going to print out and look like. And they include all of their filaments that they have, at least when they release as of the release of the printer you're using, they have little like 3D printed paint swatches. That's such a cool idea, and I like that, but they're in a cardboard box, and people have had to make like displays for it, and I'm like, really? You're telling me you couldn't have made one of those as an official kit? Instead, the kits are things that I have to spend $10 to get? That's kind of silly, because that's a great opportunity right there for me to say, oh, like one I saw was, it was a circle and you spun it and it would pop out one of the colors as you spun it. That's super cool, but that's just a guy developing it. I don't know of a way that Bamboo has, and like I said before, I'm getting into my nitpick. So if anybody here is like a big Bamboo shill, I don't want this to get misconstrued as me being like really pissy about this. It's a nitpick. It's not a deal breaker. I wouldn't say don't buy the printer because they don't offer a kit for the paint swatches. That's really stupid of me to say, but it's something I want to point out because it's stuff I feel. Just buy stiff? What do you mean? Anyway, so yeah. Another thing really bothers me. They give you like 10 grams of material to print with. I don't even know if you can print the included benchy with the filament that they include. And if you buy the AMS combo, they don't even give you enough filament they don't give you any other colors. They give you PLA, they give you their Bamboo PLA Basic. So if you buy just the printer, you cannot even test the AMS without using your own filament.
Yeah, what I don't get is like, if you're not like sample spools, whatever, if they're like cool colors, but just don't include filament at that point. It's not enough to really print anything.
I should send you the bag of it. It looks so sad and pathetic. It's in like a Ziploc baggie with a sticker on it that just says Bamboo PLA Basic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how the hell are you one-upped by Creality in like 10 years ago? When I bought my Ender V2, and I might pull up this footage when I make the Bamboo video, because I got enough footage to make a full video on the V2, and then the the KE, SE, all those came out, and I went, well, this video is going to be outdated, so why even publish it? But anyway, I have a video filmed of me unboxing my V2 before I started the channel, and in it, they have this package that has the little Creality robot on it, and it's a pretty decent like bag of filament. And then they one-upped that with the K1. It comes with an entire roll. I'm pretty sure it's like 250 or 500 grams of material. It's like a significant amount of filament. And granted, that it doesn't come with an AMS system, so the only thing that they really need you to test is a CalCat and a benchy. But they give you a bunch of filament just because it's how hard is it? You're a company that makes printers, and you're not going to include a way for me to test the fucking printer without buying more of your shit? It just, to me, it seems like they don't care, and it's such a small thing for them to do, especially on the AMS, because again, unless I buy Bamboo's filament, I can't even test the thing that the printer is advertised to do. And I used my own filament, and I was disappointed with the benchy that came out of it. I'm like, this kind of looks like it came on my Ender Pro, It looks that bad. I'll send you a picture of it. It looks bad, but that's because it's not designed for the filament I'm using. But they didn't give me any of the filament, so I would have had to go out of my way to buy their filament just to test their AMS unit without doing any other slicing. That is really, really shitty, and it makes me really mad because I am buying a product that I want to make sure works, especially if I'm buying it from Micro Center, where I have 15 days to make my decision on whether to keep it or not. If I am buying this as a brand new into the hobby, having to buy a brand new printer and then also buy 4 rolls of filament to go with it is a lot of money. The bamboo spools are $25 a roll. So that's saying in order just to test the AMS unit, I have to spend $100 extra on top of the printer just to test it and make sure that it works. That is really, really, really sad and shows exactly why I think that the bamboo, their printers are just not that great. The reason I'm keeping it is because I don't have enough money to get one of the other printers, I think. I don't know. Now that I've gotten very heated and emotional about it, I'm kind of starting to think about it on another level. But
I mean, if it sways your decision at all, I was kind of leaning towards buying one, but now that you've gone on a rant, I am definitely not buying one.
Yeah,
not just because of
I'm
the
glad
filament
that
stuff.
I'm glad that I got.
Stuff. It's the firmware, the firmware, and not being able to mess with like little settings that.
It's the little settings that really irk me, like the
especially
fact.
First layer, I'm very particular about my first layer, and
I'll send you some of it, and
I'm gonna be upset.
It really sucks that my return window is Saturday because it means that I have to make this decision on Saturday. I have to be honest. It's kind of tough of a decision to make because for the first time since I started the channel, I'd work the street corner to earn the extra money before I buy one of those after that rant. I'm mainly angry because I'm going to be honest. I'm probably projecting a little bit of my anger. It's definitely not as bad as I'm saying. If you look at the way that people talk about the A1, they're very particular with the way that they choose their words. The thing that I've heard a lot about, I don't think I've ever heard somebody say the Bamboo A1 is a perfect printer for anyone. They say this is really great for first-time printers, which I think is a very clear distinction, and I would kind of agree with that. Because everything that I've just ranted about is something that a first-time printer, like a first-time maker, they might not give a shit about. You know, like, to somebody that's never 3D printed before, why do they care what the Z offset is? If it doesn't peel off the plate and it doesn't ruin the PEI bed, why would they care? The music you're playing makes this so much better. Well, then I'm going to put on the 30-minute remix of this song. Yeah, it's such a sweet, like, autumny tune, and I'm, like, getting, like, shaking angry.
This
fucking printer. What is it? God, I've gotten so used to YouTube Premium. Going back to not having it is very weird. I'm on an off account. Why take the option or opportunity to learn why urgent matters? Oh, why take the option or opportunity to learn why urgent matters away? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Sorry. Anyway, so I think I kind of understand what people are saying where the A1 is really great for first-time makers because you pull it out of the box and the one-step printing is very easy. But for anybody that doesn't just want the default shit that you can get out of these printers, I feel very let down with what it gives. Sorry, autocorrect. Why take the option away? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. To me, and I know if you talked to me a decade ago when I was making the decision of a printer, I chose to go with a printer that was more proprietary and locked down because I was scared, and I said, this is such a learning and growth movement. You should be so proud of me for saying this. But I took the option to go with a company that was like current Bamboo. They were very locked down, very proprietary. If you monkeyed with the firmware, it would brick the printer like a 2D printer does. If you monkey with like a Canon printer, for instance, if you muck with the firmware on it, it will brick it and you have to buy a new printer. That's how the XYZ printers were. They even went a step further than other companies, or than Bamboo has currently, and they chipped their filaments, and you couldn't use any filaments that weren't XYZ branded filaments. And so if you didn't like their shitty ABS that peeled and warped and cracked, tough shit, because it was the only thing that the printer would print. And refill spools were quadruple the price of the opposition, because generally around that time, rolls of filament were like $20, let's say. Would you say it's fair to say a roll of filament is $20 just for estimate sake?
Honestly, I don't remember how much filament was back then.
Let's say 25 then. It really doesn't matter because honestly it'll be the same mathematics for both instances. But anyway, let's say it's 20. It would be a kilogram roll. Kilogram rolls have always been standard. In most cases. It's very few that you find anything less than a kilogram. A kilogram roll was normally 20. XYZ rolls for a refill roll, not for a standard roll, but for a refill roll, was 25, which, $5 more, but for 500 grams. So you were losing out because it was 25 grams for a refill, 30 for a non-refill, and it was half as much filament as you would get with the other people. If you monkeyed with the firmware, it would brick the printer. Also, very locked down, very proprietary, so you couldn't get the parts off the shelf if anything did break, so you could never service it. It was awful. People hated it. XYZ has, if not gone bankrupt, nobody even knows about them anymore. When I say it, people don't even know what the... Yeah, Protopasta sells half rolls, but... Protopasta does sell half rolls, but they do very specialized filament. Yeah. And so they're a little bit different, but I'll talk about that when I'm done, because I have some Protopasta rolls. They actually do, from what I've seen, most of their rolls are 750 gram, so they're just a slight bit less. Anyway, I bought their printer because I was like, well, I'm not a tinker. I don't want to mess with the printer. I just want to mess with the stuff that comes out of it. I've been saying that for a decade. And so I bought their printer. I fucking hated it. It was awful. The filament was so expensive. I never wanted to print anything. I would print all of my stuff with 2% infill. It would break. It would warp off the printer because I was so scared. I would never print because I was worried that it would be so expensive to print parts because I was so... and I still, to this day, that has completely changed the way that I look at 3D printing. Honestly, for the worst in a lot of ways, because now I can't look at a print without thinking of the dollar signs of how much it's going to cost. And it's all because I took the bait. I went, well, I'd like security over the ability to work with the product that I own. And I feel like the same thing is true with the Bamboo A1. It is very proprietary, very locked down, very, you cannot control really anything with it. You don't call the shots with the printer. Bamboo does. And this might be me talking as somebody who's been a veteran in the industry for 10 years. I've been 3D printing for 10 years now. It's actually over 10 years. I'm now starting my 11th year, which doesn't feel very good. But anyway, I think that this is a bad thing that the industry is telling new 3D printing people, that they should prioritize that proprietary quote unquote safeness over the ability to work with your materials. And I say this as somebody that fucking hates to tinker with my printers. I loathe having to work with my printers. Kirby can tell you, as being my friend for over a year, how much I've bitched about having to work on my printers. I fucking hate it. But working with the A1 has completely changed my mind on that. Taking that power away feels really awful to me. I really don't like it. And I think it's kind of this illusion that 3D printing companies tell us, and other reviewers tell us as well. They're like, oh, well, it's good for beginners because beginners don't know any better. It's like, well, I understand that, but you should be able to push past. And I guess to that, somebody would say, well, it's just a $450 printer. You could always buy another one down the line, like I did. You know, I bought a non-proprietary printer down the line. And that's very true. And I don't have a rebuttal for it. I think that's a very good rebuttal to what I'm saying here. For me, I look at the AMS as a temporary thing in my workflow. I would like to print multi-material, and I would like to print it now. I'm working on a video that I can't discuss right now that requires multicolor printing in a way that I can't do with a filament swap. And so I kind of need something now, you know? And so a part of me was like, well, if I just need something now, why not just go with the cheaper option? And again, this came from a place where I was very frustrated with my K1 because it wasn't working. So I think that's why that's my biggest reason to keep it. Also, I would be lying if I didn't say that the kid in me jumped up and down and started kicking my feet and giggling when the full color frog came off the build plate, looking like I had bought it at the store. That was cool as shit. I gotta be honest. If you see it as temporary, I see it going on Saturday. That is a fair point to make. I think the two reasons in my heart that I am using to keep it are, one, I don't know when the K2 will be out, and when it does come out, it will be, let's just call it MSRP, even though I doubt it'll be MSRP for long, but it's still $1,500 to buy. It's not return it, walk out, walk back in and buy it. Oh man, I should DM my Micro Center guy and be like, hey, can I commit Micro Center fraud and return it and then buy it as an open box? But yeah, I kind of see it as temporary. If I buy this one, the A1 at $450, what I'm really interested in, what this has proven to me, is I am way more interested in a tool changer than I am in an AMS unit, because I see an AMS unit as, I just don't like the limitations of it. I kind of knew that I was always going to feel that way, but the reason that I was okay with it is because I wasn't going to have to buy into Bamboo's bullshit to do that. But I ended up doing it anyway, so because the CFS took too long to come out. So, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know, and it might just be me. I don't know. Also, the waste isn't, if you have something like a ArtMe, gotta go. Take it easy, dude. Take care. Thank you so much for stopping by. Sorry that I spent the whole time ranting. I hope that the stuff that I talked about in the beginning was a little bit more positive, to kind of help the medicine go down of my thoughts of the AMS or the A1. I've got to get more used to the multicolor painting because I think that could be a way to make things less wasteful. But yeah, that's my opinions on the A1. You know what's the saddest part, Kirby? When was the last time you printed on your K1?
Yesterday.
Did you download the new
print's
update
still
for it?
sitting there. No, I haven't touched the firmware in months.
Okay, because the new firmware requires that you disable a root because it will fuck up the root. Luckily, I don't have a root, so I don't care. But the new update, here's what's really sad. The new update comes with a bed leveling, like it completely fixes the bed leveling issues I had. And now I'm getting good prints out of my K1 again.
Oh.
And here's the saddest part. I am going to send you a video of 3 parts. I know they're going to be different materials and they're going to be different models. They're not the same model. But I want you to try and tell me which one is the A1, which one is the K1, and which is the Ender 3 Pro. Ender 3 Pro, mind you. Because
20-year-old printer.
It's honestly really hard to tell the difference between them, and it's kind of sad.
Actually, not 20. It was released in 2018.
Yeah, no, it is not that old. But people use the Ender Pro as a way to bash modern Creality, and I'm printing off of the Ender Pro.
7-year-old printer.
Oh, here's another thing. The Ender Pro is upgraded to use 2.85 millimeter filament. So remember, it's also using modified 2.85 filament. And
Plus,
it's
usually 2.85 filament is less accurate.
Well,
the whole spool than
I bought that 2.85 filament in 2020. So it's 4-year-old PLA filament.
Okay.
So all of those factors, even the fact that I think it's hard to tell the difference between them, I feel like kind of says everything I need to say for me. I feel it's in bad taste to recommend the printer, not just because I dislike a lot of parts of it, but because if you are getting into 3D printing, you are a maker. Do not get it. I say this to anybody that I talk to about 3D printing. Do not get into 3D printing if all you are interested in is making money. We calling him Kirby now? Did I misspell it in the... Why do you guys read the... Who the hell reads my descriptions? Did I spell it wrong? Oh, chat. No. Okay, good. I was like, no, I make sure to spell it right. So, every single person that's like, oh, printers are really cheap, you should just open up an Etsy shop. Sogo started a thing. Who's Sogo? Sogo D's not. No, I'm just kidding. Do not buy a 3D printer thinking that you're going to make this massive Etsy store and make $1 bajillion, because 3D printing is not at a place where that is possible. If anybody tells you that's possible, they're lying. Me being lazy. Sun's out, guns out. Yeah. Guns Out's a good guy. I'm glad he came. Anyway, so yeah, I think if you're going to buy a 3D printer, you're somebody who is a maker, get a printer that you can tinker with, because as you learn more about your tool, you're going to realize how little control you have with a Bamboo printer and how much that like kneecaps you. So yeah, anyway, those are my opinions. Now I'm not sure what I want to do. I was satisfied saying that this is a cheap stopgap while I work on what I was kind of thinking, and I don't know if this is valid or not. I don't know if this completely negates my entire hour-long rant that I had there. But I now don't even think I want to get an SVO8. I kind of would rather spend money on getting a better Voron 2.4 kit and making a tool changer for it.
Yeah.
I don't know what your opinion on all of that, everything I just said is, but that's kind of the long and short of it. I would not recommend you get one. I'm sorry. I just think that you would throw it down a flight of stairs if you were
for the A1.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think I would like it. I think I would immediately be frustrated.
The only positive of it for you, I think, would be the multicolor. The thing about cheap, easy things results is people going, "Why should I pay someone else, even though they absolutely won't do the prints themselves?" Yeah, that's true. Anyway, keep going.
I think it depends. I think the K2 is really cool, and everything that Nathan Builds Robots has said about it seems pretty dope. And he even, I trust his word because he rags on everybody.
Yes.
He's thinking about getting rid of.
Can you boost
all
his
of
volume?
other
God damn it! How are you still quiet?
He
is at max volume, so there's nothing I can do shy of turning everything else down.
There's not much I can do either.
Yeah. I don't know what to do.
Can you turn up the Discord volume in OBS?
You are at 200%.
What about like OBS?
I am at near max, and you are at near max in OBS as well. That's why he's Kirby tonight. He's lowercase.
Yeah.
Anyway, keep going.
But I think my plan right now is, if I can stomach saving money until I have enough for the K2, I'm gonna get the K2. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I'm just gonna get the SVO8.
Yeah.
Because for the price of a K2, I can get an SVO8 and eventually upgrade it to a multi-tool head.
Yeah.
Which I still think is the way to go over a multi-material unit like this CMS.
Yes.
Just because more tool head equals more temperature control, a bunch of other cool stuff you can do with
it. Less waste.
Less waste, yeah. There still is waste because you have to prime each nozzle and everything, but it's much less.
Yeah.
I think it's ultimately the way
right
to
now,
go.
all of the tool changers on the market, aside from the Prusa, although I say that with a question mark, are open. And so you can make the decisions yourself. Like, I know you know what I'm talking about, but the advancements in tip shaping has made my mind up on what I want to do in the future. Have you seen some of the stuff that the Voron community has been doing on tip shaping?
Yeah,
they are making it so that the amount of waste is like milligrams on the gram. It is insane what some of these people are doing to reduce the waste. And in Bamboo Slicer and even Orca Slicer, the like purge on infill is like a meaningless command. It does like actually nothing. But on a printer where you had more control, like a Voron, it could be the difference between needing to poop and not needing to poop.
Yeah.
I think. I don't own one, and there's very little research in it on a domestic end for me to say it with certainty. But from what I've seen, it seems possible.
So I'm gonna be real. I think multicolor, it's cool, and I would probably use it, but I'm much more interested in multi-material. I've been seeing some really cool stuff with using
in full
a
agreement with that. I don't.
Yeah.
I agree.
Using a sacrificial PLA layer to keep an ABS print from warping on a non-enclosed printer. That's really cool.
I got a better one for you. I think I've mentioned it on a few. I don't know who I've said this to. I probably have said it to you already. I think a cooler thing would be to mix TPU with other materials, but not in a way where they interface, but instead like you have the thing I've said is like a glove or a gauntlet, and the joints are TPU, like almost like rubber bands, but they're inside the print that's like PET G or something like that. Mm-hmm. That would be cool as shit, and it would revolutionize the way that we do cosplay, because you could put like bands and stuff in your masks without having to like glue or other stuff like that. You could just print it already in there. I think multiple tool head could revolutionize cosplay just as much as print quality has revolutionized cosplay, because the increase in off the bed print quality has made it so more people can just get good prints, so they don't have to sand and paint models to get them like usable for a convention. I think a similar advancement in the cosplay field will happen when more people get a multiple tool heads and can inlay stuff in their prints like multiple materials. I would really like, and this is something that we'll have to talk about in January when we go to MagFest. I would really like to partner with you on a Voron build for a 2.4, because I have this idea and I hesitate to tell you about it because it's actually one where I think it's so good you might like steal it, but I kind of want to collab on it with you because
know how long it takes me to get stuff done.
I say this not to make myself feel better, but because I'm so excited in it. It might be one of the best ideas I've ever come up with in terms of 3D printing.
Okay.
And so I'm really nervous. Sorry, not reading chat. It'll be the greatest thing since Warbler. That's very true. I agree. Side thought, can you use 3D printing to make frames to shape Warbler? I've made frames. I have although it's not a Warbler frame, it's a frame for like a picture. But I did make a frame on my printables, and I made a full video about it on my channel, which you actually left a comment on that video, and you said, no way, a full-length video. So I know you've watched that Orchid.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was trying to think. I'm like, what is Warbler? It's thermoplastic that you can use for like molding for like cosplay and stuff.
Well, okay,
yeah, you could
so
totally 3D print molds for that.
So I've watched a couple videos about how to make a what do they call that again? The plastic that you can warp thermoshaping or something like that.
The Warbler?
Yeah.
That's the brand name for it.
No, but like what's the name of the machine that does it?
Injection molder?
No, that makes the mold, not the injection molding.
Because
No, not a heat gun. It's a vacuum sealer. That's it.
Oh yeah.
I've seen videos of making a homemade vacuum sealer, and you can 3D print the parts for it because it's not
vacuum sealers are surprisingly not that expensive.
Yeah, that's true. Honestly, I think the Warbler is the most expensive.
AliExpress for not that much, because they're used a lot in like the dental industry.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I've only seen people use foam and stuff with large heat guns to shape it. Yeah. So yeah, I really. So here's what I'm kind of thinking. I'm like, well, if I don't buy the K2 and I just kind of, wait and see, maybe I could buy one down the road. Maybe I get that Micro Center discount, as I like to call it, and it's $1,000 or something like that. Maybe then I'm at a place where I can, because as much ragging on the A1 as I've done, it's a fine printer. It works and it prints pretty decent, parts, and it wasn't super expensive in terms of printers. It's kind of medium price. In terms of printers in its league, it's really low in price, but that will change. What I'm kind of thinking though is I really don't like AMS single extruder multi material. It wastes too much filament to make me okay with it. I just kind of don't like it. I don't know if I ever will. So I don't know if buying a more expensive printer is really going to solve that issue. Like, that's not something that Nathan Builds Robots brought up in his thing about the K2. He just said that it was really, like, it printed high-quality parts and that it had a heated chamber. So a part of me is like, am I gonna
I
benefit
think
from the stuff that he was like over the moon excited about?
yeah. I think the biggest thing with the K2 is that you you remove the CMF and you just look at it as a printer. It's a pretty damn good printer.
Yeah, and
It's
that's true.
350 mil by 350. Like, it's a huge print area.
Oh yeah.
It's using servo controllers for the stepper motors, so it has closed loop feedback for everything.
Okay, pause, because I don't want to forget this. When you say closed loop feedback, do you mean like all axes are independently driven?
No,
I don't know what that means.
I mean that the motors themselves, well, technically not the motors, but the motors. When I say servo, I mean the motors know where they are in their rotation. So they have like sensors on the back of them
Gotcha.
that will tell them where they are in the rotation, so they can
okay. So they're
automatically
like
adjust.
they're like
So-
memory motors, basically. They're almost
Basically,
wait. Okay, so they're it's kind of like just in concept, not in mechanics. In concept, they're like those magnet printers, that like really super expensive magnet printer,
No, not really.
where it can remember where it was.
Those are closed loop, but for a different reason.
But like that idea is the same between the two of them.
Yeah.
Okay,
where, like,
I feel like I understand
the
it a little bit
motors.
better.
So like you know how on your printer, when the motors turn off, they don't know how many, and basically when you send a command to the motor, it's basically telling it to step one direction or the other, and
Yeah.
it just moves one step.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, the only way you can remember where the motor is by remembering it in software. But if it skips a step, like say there's like a mechanical bind up, or the motors turn off and get moved around by hand or something, they don't know where they are. They have no idea. That's why they got a home.
Yeah.
The new Creality printer, the K2, has on the back of the motor, it's like an extension on it, that it houses the motor driver, so there's no drivers on the actual board, it's on the motor itself. But it also, I believe it's a Hall effect sensor. I could be wrong on that, but some way to tell how far the motor has actually rotated. So it knows exactly where it is at all times. As long as the printer is still on, theoretically it should never ever have to home, because it just knows where it is. Even if the motors have turned off, it's still reading how far they have turned, even if you're moving them by hand. So it shouldn't ever have to home, which isn't the main benefit. It's more like if the printer gets bumped, or if the head gets caught on something and it misses a step, it'll know that it missed that step and be able to compensate for that.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. The way that I look at it is a little bit less sophisticated. I look at the main capabilities. Obviously, the main thing of the combo is the CFS and the heated chamber. And I do like the one thing that I like about it over the K1 is the fact that all of the motors are independently driven, so it can compensate. It can basically do like bed tilt, like the leveling knobs on the sides, because right now my K1 has a variance of 0.8, which is really bad. And if I wanted to fix that, I have to flip the printer over, take the bottom piece off, twist it by hand, and then hold it in place while I also stretch the belt back over the gears. I spent, I want to say 24 hours like of just doing that, and I still have a fucked up bed. It is like impossible to fix the leveling of
I
the
had the
K1.
same thing. Mine was off by like, it was about the same. It was like 0.8 mil off, which is crazy bad. I got lucky though. I was able to adjust one of the teeth. It made it slightly better, and then I adjusted it again. Like I skipped one tooth on one of the pulleys.
I gotta see how you skipped the teeth,
another.
because I couldn't skip the teeth without taking the whole thing off.
I like I forgot exactly what I did. I think I took an Allen key and actually ran it through around one of the pulleys with the Allen key kind of in it,
Mhm.
so that it moved one tooth over, but just on the pulley that it was going through. And
Oh,
I
I
did.
got what you're seeing. I saw videos
Yeah,
about that, and
it's a thing
like
it's
freaked
a
me
thing
out.
that you
But I'll
do
try it out.
on like cars. You can do that with the timing belt, to adjust the
I'm
timing.
familiar with the method, so you're good. You don't have to
Yeah.
describe it.
But I did
I know.
that once. It was close, and then I did it again, and now it's just about bang on
I kept
perfect.
taking the bed off or the belt off, and so it would get like
Yeah,
even
I
more
never took
fucked
the
off.
belt off. I never took the
Fucked up
belt off.
because then the X and the Y can Yo, what's up?
Yeah, but the
But yeah.
K2 also has leveling knobs, so
Yeah,
can
that's
get,
true. So you
you can get it perfect.
if I was why am I doing this? I'm filling this in and I don't even need to fill it in. If I were to go back in time to before East Coast Rep Rap last year, and kind of reevaluate where I was. Can you say no? I can't say that. All right, we're back. Are we back? Yeah, we're back. Now I just gotta wait for stream to catch up, and then I can keep yapping. Yeah, we're back. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to crash there. Well, I don't mean to crash. I've been having some more of those recently. It's kind of weird.
Lately my internet is they upgraded our internet for free. I still have the same bad upload.
Yeah.
But now I've got 500 down.
Nice.
But now
I'll blame the
been,
election.
It's been
There's too many people on the
up.
internet right now.
Yeah, it's been messing up lately, so I don't even have. I've got like 90 down right now.
Okay,
And it's been that way for a couple of days.
If I were to go back in time to last fall when I bought my K1, I would tell myself, hey, buy the... Honestly, maybe just keep with what I have. Oh yeah, probably that I was going to joke that it was AI. Yeah, my AI hadn't caught up yet. My Yap AI. Alaska's still open. Well, isn't it still like... What's Alaska's time zone right now? Because they're almost in Russia. Anyway, AI stealing the internet. Oh, gotcha. No, they just steal the energy. I was going to make a joke and start off the stream by playing AI Minecraft, but I just feel so bad about it using up so much energy that I was like, I don't really think so. Anyway, I probably would have told myself to, well, I don't know, because, I don't know. Whether I would have told myself to buy the K1 Max, or whether I would have told myself to just buy the K1. I think I would have said don't buy the K1, maybe just buy the KE, because it's cheaper.
Yeah,
would have saved the money there.
It also, I mean,
and then,
we had the K1s for how many months before the KE came out?
no, the KE came out at the same time, didn't it? Yeah, they came out at the same...
V3
we
KE?
V3 KE, yes.
Wait, no, that was months after the K1.
Yes, but we bought them in September. We bought them in September, November-ish, like around that time.
And then
Yeah.
I guess it came out.
Because I remember at East Coast Rap last year, they were demoing the KE.
Oh, okay.
So it was out by the time that we bought the K1s. I should have just bought the KE to save the money.
As much as I complain about my K1, I don't regret the purchase. I think it was well worth it, especially the amount of prints I've been able to print on it. And I know you've said, oh, don't buy a printer expecting to print Etsy stuff.
But
the amount of prints I've printed on it for Etsy has made it well worth
But
it.
see, there's a difference. I'm not saying to a fault. What I'm saying is there are people that expect... The way that I compare it, and I think you would absolutely agree with me on this front, is people say to me, oh man, how cheap is it to get a 3D printer? Because I want to start 3D printing. It's like, oh, it's not that bad. But you see the stuff that I print, and you're like, oh, that's high quality. I could be making that. But I've been printing for 10 years.
Yeah.
You would never go up to a carpenter and say, I want to build a table. What hammer do I buy?
True.
They would say, well, you got to buy hammers. There's hammers that are good. There's hammers that are shit. There are hammers that will be good enough for a beginner. There's hammers that will be good enough for an expert. There's a lot of different hammers. But a hammer doesn't make you good at making a bench. Being good at making a bench makes you good at making a bench. And the only way that you can get good at making a bench is by learning how to make a bench. Not necessarily learning how to have the best hammer. Same thing I would argue is true with 3D printing. You can print for business. You can make a successful Etsy shop. But buying a good printer doesn't automatically make it so that you can have a good, solid business. Because at the end of the day, whether people want to admit it or not, a 3D printer is a tool. It's not a toy. And so you can't just buy it expecting to get something out of it like you can with other machines. Like if I buy a laminator because I want to make laminated stickers, I know that I'm going to buy that laminator and tomorrow I'm going to be making laminated stickers. That's why I use the hammer comparison, because it's a 3D printer is much closer to a hammer than even a 2D printer, but a laminator or a hole punch or like any of this other stuff. You know, it has a much bigger, its capital cost, that's the cost you pay when you first buy it, has gone down significantly since the hobby started. However, it's what would be the other word for this in business? I'm trying to think. I guess it would be the ROI cost is much, much greater than in other hobbies. You have to put a lot more into 3D printing to get to the place where you can start a successful business off of it or something like that. I think that's a fact that kind of gets overshadowed. There's a lot of videos that come up in my feed that are like, I failed a 3D printing Etsy business. Here's what to avoid. And I think that's because we look at 3D printing from kind of a backwards point of view. And I don't know if it, as an Etsy seller, if you would agree with me or not. Would you?
Yeah, I would. You have to buy a 3D printer because you want to be a maker, not because you want to be an Etsy seller. The Etsy seller, if it ever comes, should come secondary.
And that's what I'm working on right now. Is I'm looking at, like, now that I've gotten to a place where I can now, and that's another reason I might keep the A1 is because it's just kind of nice to have printers printing, and now I have 2 new age printers, and so I'm like, holy shit, I should get rid of my Enders. Why the fuck do I still have these? It's why I am lagging behind on finishing my what's it called build, my CR10 build, because I'm like, honestly, I could just buy an SVO8 and not have to fuck with any of this stuff anymore. It makes me really mad that I still bought the parts for it, because now it's gonna be wasted money. But that's kind of where I'm at. Oh, my inventory's full. That's kind of where I'm at with all of it. I might just keep the A1 as a cheaper alternative for multicolor printing. I'm very happy with where my A1 is right now. And honestly, I said it before. I decided not to get the K1 or K2 when I was still planning on getting the K2. But that big size really I just don't think it matters as much as people think it does. I would say 1 out of every 10 prints. No, that's not fair.
No, yeah, the
one,
big size.
One out of every 100 prints that I make, or try to make, is a better thing to say. I even get to the place where I'm like, oh, they're too big for the bed. And honestly, that's because most of the new files are from people that have bamboo printers, and the bamboo bed is just slightly bigger than that of the standard Creality bed. So I just don't think that big bed is that much of a reason to buy.
The only thing I think it's good for is if you do a lot of multicolor printing.
Mm-hmm.
Means you can put
no.
more stuff on the bed and less.
Exactly.
I mean, it's the same amount of waste, but less waste per model.
Well, that's what Nathan Builds Robots said, and that's what I said at the beginning of this stream when I was talking about the A1 and why it frustrates me, is because as you print more, the amount of waste percentage goes down, because it's the same amount of waste for the filament changes regardless of if you print one or if you print 1,000 of a part. So, of course, a bigger bed's going to be theoretically more efficient. But again, as somebody like me, I don't care. I'm not printing for...
You're just going to print a little tiny frog.
I'm printing like one frog. What do I have to print an army of frogs for? You know, like I can't use that aspect of the advantages. So yeah, that's kind of the deal. I think I'm probably ultimately going to end up keeping it. The time-lapse stuff bothers me, but I don't know if it's really that huge of a deal. We'll see. I'm very happy that the new firmware there's 2 things on the new firmware that change, and I'm interested to see what... I feel like the new firmware is coming out to prepare these printers to get CFSs on them, because
probably
they changed the way that they retract and purge. They now purge more material. I don't know. Well, you wouldn't have noticed that, but I could send you a picture of it. But I downloaded the update as soon as it came out because it said that they changed the way that the bed leveling works. And I was like, oh, that's sick, because I hate my bed leveling. And I re-leveled, and now I'm not having any issues, so I'm chilling. I might do what you're saying and skip some teeth, because I'm a little unhappy with that 0.8 variance. But it's printing really well. Heyo, what's up? Though, in closing, there is one thing that the A1 does that I like. Because you have the AMS system, it means that filament swaps can be automatic instead of manual, which is really nice for me because I do a lot of filament swapping.
Especially if I could just like...
I'm doing all right.
If I knew what filament's coming next, I just load that into the AMS.
Oh, yeah.
Or I just leave common colors loaded. Oh, that's the ultimate goal.
And because you said that, I've been doing that, and it's been nice. Like, I leave white in it, and I've had, like, white as a color that I use all the time. Hopefully the stream is only buffering for me and not for you guys. Yeah, it's only buffering for me. What am I doing? I am digging out a hole, which we can then use for making pixel art on the server. I've been working on it for a few streams now, or for a few weeks. But, yeah, I'm probably going to keep it because it's a good, consistent printer. I'm going to say it's a new age printer, you know? But I will say a lot of the stuff that was advertised, I was very disappointed with. It didn't knock my socks off like I thought people were saying it would. And the multicolor system is cool, but I think it's ultimately a gimmick. But that's why I'm kind of leaning towards keeping it again, is because if it's a gimmick, why would I buy a printer that's $1,500 so that I can then also have that exact same gimmick? Because even though the K2 is so much more impressive than the A1, I wouldn't be buying it for any of those advanced features outside of making the prints more consistent. But both of the printers that I have currently that are new age printers, so the K1 and the A1, are both fairly consistent. There are very few times when they have failed in my limited testing. So that's my opinion. I don't know if you agree with it, Kirby. I don't know what your final thoughts are, but I'm probably going to get close to wrapping up because I got to go.
My thoughts are Still,
Yeah.
still, my most reliable printer was my original Ender 3 that I bought in 2019 and upgraded the fuck out of.
Was that the one that you brought to RepRap?
Yep.
That's so funny because we used that to print all that stuff.
Legitimately got it home. I have not leveled the bed since.
That's so funny.
And it is still spot on.
I think despite the fact that I ranted so much about that, and I think this might be a kind of funny video to make. I'm excited to make the A1 review because I think I'm saying shit that I've never heard anybody say online at all ever about the A1, and I think this unique take will be good. I also think it'll be kind of funny to make this all that complaining and then be like, yeah, I'm keeping it.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it.
But I think it makes a lot of sense why I'm keeping it and why I'm not getting another printer, because there really isn't a printer on the market right now that does what I want the color for. Like, I want the multicolor to make a one-off model.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to find a printer at that price that just does multicolor without a ton of messing with.
Yeah.
And that's why it's very tempting, even after all that, where I'm like, if I want to do multicolor, I think I'm gonna bite the bullet and buy it. But it's one of those things
for you, I honestly don't know. A part of me is almost like, man, maybe I should have gotten the mini, because if it's just a gimmick, maybe I don't need the whole bed. But I kind of like,
you got the A1 and not the mini.
Yeah,
I'm thinking mini this whole time. Yeah, I think the mini, honestly, is probably the better buy.
I don't know, though. The A1 is... It's only like
bigger.
It's only $75 more. So it's not a lot. Yeah.
Oh, okay. With the Micro Center discounts, I guess, yeah, then it's worth it. But at if you're getting it at MSRP, I think the mini is the way to go.
I would argue that I don't think the mini is the way to go, just because there are some other advantages to having the bigger bed. Things are less cramped, and so it's a lot easier to work with. But
I think if you're getting it for the gimmick of multicolor, then the mini.
Yeah.
And that's what I was planning on doing, is just get the mini just to have something that can print multicolor so I can kind of play with it. But even then, it's like, I know I'm going to be frustrated by the firmware and the software, that it's I
think if I remember correctly, it's 370 or 380 versus 450. So it's like a $75 difference. And honestly, at that point, just get the A1 over the A1 mini.
Or just get neither.
Yeah. I don't know, though. Like you were saying, since you already have an Etsy store, I don't think it would be a horrible idea. As a main workhorse printer, though, it does, like, for me, it really bothers me because I don't benefit from a lot of the benefits of the printer.
So that's what I'm worried about, is getting it and then integrating it into the shop in a way where I need a multicolor printer, but that's the only multicolor printer that I have. I don't like that. I don't like that idea.
But what I would argue is,
I need options.
What and maybe I'm looking at this because I'm in the situation I'm in, but if it's the only printer that you use multicolor for, how many printers do you have that print? So, like, just use one of them to do printing that doesn't have to be multi-material. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, like, if you need a part and say the multi-material printer goes down, then you just don't print the multi-material parts for that moment. But if one of your other printers goes down and you need it, and that's the only one that's doing multi-material, how many printers do you have to make up for that printer that went down? You know, like...
Yeah.
I could totally foresee that for you, it being a way more... It makes sense printer, because you could benefit from a lot of it, you know. I think, and we could talk more about it at a different date if you want. I'll be back on Thursday, so you could come back for Thursday and we could talk a little bit more. It would more than make up for how many streams you've been absent for.
I'm a busy man. I got things to do.
Yeah.
Stuff to
See,
do.
I value my chat and my audience, and so that's why I make time for them.
Yeah.
What can I say? I'm just such a selfless guy. Yeah, honestly, I also don't think the AMS will really change a lot of my main workforce. It's a gimmick. And I'm okay spending a little bit less money on a gimmick because I think I'd rather just spend more money on the non-gimmicks like the multi tool head. I think that would be a much better usage of my hard-earned money. Also, it gives me more money to spend on the Art Me because I really want to get working on the Art Me stuff soon. Because I've been in talks with Josh about some more stuff behind the scenes there. I have a possible secret partnership that I can't talk about.
Oh, you just talked about it.
Well, I did, but no details. I just can't talk about it. But yeah, that's been my feelings with the AMS. Yeah. And another thing, I have to test it. I haven't done it yet. There might be a way to avoid that purge that I was talking about by not using the AMS. But I have to do some more testing this weekend to see how easy it is to swap between those. I believe it's literally just a lever that you pull, and then you can pull out the AMS block and then put in the single extruder block. And for that, maybe that's what I do. The thing I'll never get over is the time lapse. That is very frustrating.
That's the one.
nothing
I bet you
do.
you bring that up to a bamboo person and they're like, "Oh, just download the app."
No, it's not. I have the app. It's not something you can fix in the app either.
It's not in the app either.
No. I'm telling you, it's an unfixable issue.
Oh boy.
Yeah, no. It's hardwired into the printer. You can't change that. Or, sorry, it's an option that they don't make available. You can't, because it's the issue is not the fact that you can't access the time lapses, like what you said was the issue with the K1, even though it's not. You don't need to use Creality Print to get the time lapses. It's a pain in the ass, but you don't need to use the app to get the time lapses. But the issue with the time lapses is hardwired into the printer. It's just a function of the printer. So yeah. Well, I might end off for the night there, and then you and I could discuss things off stream, because I could show you, I could share my screen and show you exactly what I'm
it
talking
can't be too long because I do have to take off pretty quick.
Yeah, me too, because I gotta go take my meds. Yo, Two Best Friends play music? I'm the only person that would get that joke. All right, well, I want to thank everyone very much for watching. I will be back live on Thursday, hopefully, fingers crossed, finishing off Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. Dang, that means next week I got to come up. Oh, wait, next week's, never mind, I'm going on vacation, so I won't be back next week for regular streams. I'll be doing a special stream. Forgot about that. Anyway, keep posted for information on that. I have content coming out on Friday. It should be a fun video. Got some of the Hollow Round 1 stuff coming out. That should be fun.
Yeah. Going back. Just kidding.
I've gone back 3 times already, so I don't think I'll go back a 4th. But
I was tempted to go back, but I'm like, there isn't really anything else that I want to win.
Let's save this conversation for Thursday, because I would love to talk to you about it on a day that's not 3D printing. Might get more people interested. So yeah, I have a video coming out on Friday. Then next week, the next month, I think November is going to be VTuber month unofficially. November into December is going to be VTuber month, where I'm just going to be going crazy getting a shitload of VTuber 3D models, 3D printing stuff out of the way because I want all of it done by the end of 2024 or by the beginning of January, so that I can start working on new projects. Um. Anyway, so that's stream content. Pretty much it from me. Do you have anything else you wanted to add, Kirby?
No, not really.
All right. Well, thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you in the next stream. Bye bye.